Zaxby's just put all the other chicken chains on notice because now they got dry rubs. You can get their famous fingers and wings in 3 signature flavors: zesty lemon pepper, savory garlic parm, and spicy Nashville hot, which means there's a little something for everyone chasing a bold hit of flavor. If you've been sleeping on Zaxby's, this new dry rub menu is about to wake you up. Zaxby's dry rubs. Try all 3 flavors before they're gone. Who's got the sauce? Zaxby's.
Welcome into another edition of the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. I am Jacob Milham, joined today by the illustrious Jeremy Hakaias Greco.
Been re-promoted.
You have been, all right? It's been a while since I've reminded people of your full title. It feels like one day you're just going to pull out 6 middle names. That's how I'm going to introduce you every podcast episode.
I know just the one middle name.
Just the one. Are you sure? Are you sure? What is that?
For now.
Did you ever watch Sweet Life of Zach and Cody on Disney?
I saw bits of it. Was young for my age.
Yeah,
I was too old when it came out. Not that I didn't love some Disney Channel stuff, but it was like, and I watched Lizzie McGuire, so it was not much below my age, but it was just enough.
Yeah. So there's a doorman on there named Esteban Ramirez, and that was the running bit that he had such a long name. Let's see here. What is it? Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de la Rosa Ramirez.
Ricardo Montoya.
Oh man. All right, folks. So we do actually have some baseball stuff to talk about. We've been talking about arm hair before we started recording, so y'all really missed out on the good stuff there.
I was just explaining to Jacob that having a lot of arm hair I would consider that to be an Italian trait. And all
absolutely.
I can think about is Team Italy, except for if I had allowed Jacob to ask me how I was doing today, my plan had been to respond, waiting all day for Sunday night.
Hey,
I'm not singing it.
For Sunday night.
But I'll let Jacob handle that part of it.
That's my corner.
Waiting all day for Sunday night. I'm ready for some Team USA and Dominican Republic, baby.
This is going to be a heavyweight bout tonight in the WBC.
These last 2 matchups, the semifinals, I don't think they're going to disappoint us, baby.
No. Oh, no, absolutely not. That opening round did not disappoint at all.
Well,
at all, the quarterfinals.
Okay. This is the part where I have to say I thought that the closest matchup was somehow going to be the Dominican Republic, and whoever they played has been obliterated from my memory, just like the game.
They played Korea.
Yeah. Jeez Louise. And you said, no, I don't think that one's going to be close. And I'm like, but I believe in Korea. And I was incorrect.
Nope. There's no reason to believe in Korea right now.
But that Japan-Venezuela game, Jacob.
Oh, man.
That was
so
some good baseball. And that was a couple of good baseball fandoms facing off against each other, too. Woo!
It was awesome, man. That was, this is what we expect when we get to this stage of the World Baseball Classic.
I've missed so many WBCs where I could have been watching this stuff. Because this is the first one I've paid attention to, because I'm a silly American who didn't think it was worth paying attention to until 23. I remember when they first announced the concept of a WBC, they were like, we're going to do WBCs. And I was like, exhibition games where everybody's from these boring. I'm stupid sometimes. I mean, that was like 20 years ago or something at this point, right?
It was
pretty close to it.
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah, so I was a stupid teenager then.
To be fair, I didn't really pay attention to it at all until 2023.
Yeah.
I feel like it was, I don't know what it was, about 17 and 13. I should have been into it, but I just wasn't. And 6 and 9, I was still just on the hopium train for the Royals to do better that season, and I wasn't paying attention to anything else other than spring training stats, obviously.
Yeah, if you want to pay attention to the Royals this year, spring training is not the way to go.
Nope,
absolutely not. A lovely social media post from Royals broadcaster Jake Eisenberg pointing out that no matter who wins the trophy from this point on, a Royal do they get a gold medal? Is that a thing? I misunderstood.
In previous years they did.
Yeah. So no matter which team gets the gold medal, a Royal will be represented.
Yeah.
You got Carlos Estevez, on the Dominican Republic, you got Bobby Witt Jr. with Team USA. You've got Jack Caglione and Vinny Pasquantino on Team Italy. And of course, you have Michael Garcia, Salvador Perez, and Luinder Avila for Team Venezuela.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Let's see here.
I pointed out on social media that tomorrow night's game, or tonight's game, if you're listening to this the day it releases, is a battle of the Royal captains. Vinny Pasquantino's captaining that Italian squad, and Salvador Perez, not just the Royals captain, but also Venezuela's.
Yep, exactly. It is that I think, I think USA versus Dominican Republic is gonna be this really hard hitting, like high octane. I feel like
Well, from
Italy
one side
versus
at least.
Yeah. I feel like Italy Venezuela is going to, for some reason, this is just a gut feeling, is not going to be pretty, but gosh dang it, it's going to be competitive as hell. Like
Oh, yeah.
those are two teams who definitely do not want to give up.
Those are two teams that Venezuela showed that they don't give up versus Japan. It would have been
Yeah.
really easy to go, "Oh, no, we're down 3 and Yamamoto's on the mound." But then you gotta remember, Yamamoto can't stay on the mound forever. He only got to pitch 4 innings. This is not the, World Series where he can pitch as
Nope.
many innings as his coach will put him out there for.
Yeah.
So
That's
then
true.
the Japan had to go to the bullpen, and the bullpen, we talk about this during the regular season. The bullpen, when you have to open the bullpen door that many times, and you have to open it a bunch of times in the WBC, whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
every time you do that, you run a high risk that the guy that comes out isn't gonna have it that day, and there were
Mhm.
multiple guys in that Japanese bullpen that did not have it that day.
Nope. Absolutely not. All right, so just real quick on the if you have not been paying attention to the World Baseball Classic, here are the cliff notes. Dominican Republic in the quarterfinals obliterated Korea 10-0.
Jeez.
Quarterfinal number 2, the United States, that final score against Canada was 5-3 in favor of the United States, but holy smokes, that felt a lot closer. Canada had some opportunities to take that lead late in the game, and they just didn't.
It honestly reminded me of the Italy-USA game where Italy took a huge lead, and you're like, "Okay, they're gonna cruise to victory." Nope, hang on to your butts.
Yep, exactly.
And Italy actually did the same thing against Puerto Rico, where Puerto
Yeah,
Rico got the first shot, Willie Castro with a leadoff home run, and then Team Italy took it over, did not hit any home runs, no espressos in that game for the first time this WBC, but they got out to a big lead, and then they had to hold on to their butts and trust their closer, Greg Weissert, for 2 innings to finish that sucker off. I don't know if
yeah,
he'll be
he
available tomorrow night against Venezuela.
I doubt he will, but we'll see what happens against Venezuela. They should pull out all of the stops. This is the deepest that team has gotten
I
in the
think
World
Michael
Baseball
Lorenzen
history,
can
Classic
pitch,
history.
can start the game at least, so at least they'll have
Yeah, I think so.
a reasonable quality major league pitcher. I mean, I'm actually really impressed by what Sam Aldegheri did in the
Yeah,
WBC, to the point that I drafted him for my 50-round keeper league.
fun.
Draft and hold league, not keeper, draft and hold. So I can't, you draft a whole bunch of guys and you can't do any trades, and I'm like, well, we're very deep in this.
Yeah.
Let me get some guys that just maybe got some flashes. I've drafted a bunch of Team Italy guys. I'm not gonna lie. Dante Nori, Sam Aldegheri. I'm like, whatever. I've seen their names at least.
Yeah, yeah, that you have. That's they're forefront of your mind right now for good reason. I mean, Royals pitcher Seth Lugo did get absolutely crushed against Team Italy there. That was not a pretty outing from him for Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and that continues his struggles with teams that load the lineup
Yeah,
with lefties, as Italy did. It was a bunch of singles and a couple of walks. Maybe one of those walks would have been overturned by ABS. Vinny's line drive single, if the shortstop was an inch or two taller, that's an out, and that changes the whole complexion of the whole games. I wouldn't read too much into that from Lugo, and I think ultimately he didn't. How many runs did he give up? Was it just the 2, or was it all?
I think it was
Did he give up
4.
4?
I think he
Okay,
gave up
so
4.
if he then gets to in a regular season game, he's gonna keep going. And if
Yeah,
he could end up pitching 6 innings and giving up 4, and you're like, "Well, it wasn't a great start, but it was fine," and there just wasn't time for that because it's single elimination time.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 1/3, 1 out recorded, 4 earned runs, and 2 walks.
as I posted on social media. The Puerto Rican makes it through barely a quarter of an inning.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So that last game that I feel like we're brushing over, definitely the upset of the quarterfinal round, Venezuela beating Team Japan, Samurai Japan, excuse me, 8-5.
Who was powering that? I mean, Willie Abreu hit the big home run, but there was one guy that without him, Willie Abreu doesn't really get a chance to do anything.
That's true. That is
Mikel
true.
Garcia had
Yep.
a 2-run home run to put some life into Venezuela when they were down by 3. Obviously, that wasn't the final blow, but they needed a spark. And at that point, Ronald Acuna Jr. had just been struck out on a pitch he did not agree with, and he was still complaining about as Mikel Garcia was coming back to the dugout. They kept cutting to Acuna and being like, "Oh, he's so fired up for his guy." I'm like, "No, he's still yelling at the umpire. What are you watching?" He's like, Albert Pujols is over there going, "Dude, stop it. Go back in the dugout." He's not celebrating anything. He's not paying any attention. He's still mad. But Mikel Garcia was getting the job done.
Yeah. Yeah, that he was, and he's been kind of that spark plug guy for that Venezuela lineup in several ways. Unfortunately I cannot say the same about the Royals team captain Salvador Perez, batting 8th in that lineup and by far having the worst OPS for Team Venezuela.
He gunned down a runner He did. What's his face who left the game injured? Not Yoshida, Seiya Suzuki?
I think it was.
It's one of those left fielders who was playing in center because they needed his bat. Yeah. So, and then of course the guy who came in for him hit a 3-run home run, and they're like, actually, this guy is a Golden Glove winner, which is like the best at your position overall, not just the best defender. So, it's not like he sucks.
Yeah. But all those game results lead us to where we're at today. We're recording this on Sunday evening. United States and the Dominican Republic play each other in a few hours. Going to be absolutely locked in for that game. And then Monday night, Venezuela versus Italy, for who is going to play in the finals of the World Baseball Classic. Going to be a very, very good pair of games.
This is the first year Italy has ever made it as far as the semifinals.
Yeah.
Also the first year Japan has not made it to at least the semis.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, they'd made it to at least the semis every World Baseball Classic.
I feel like it's a little disrespectful that they're having both these games on FS1. Come on, put it on Fox.
I feel like it's a little disrespectful that I was watching Italy. I was watching the post game of Italy versus Puerto Rico, and they cut it off right as Francisco Cervelli was starting to give an on-field interview. That felt pretty disrespectful. I also feel disrespected by John Smoltz delivering epic TV event, and it's Bible stories about the women in the Bible, which is the same commercial they've shown me 500 times. They didn't even change up the commercial that he introduced.
No, they have not. And for folks who have asked me, I've had 2 people ask me this, like, why are you guys talking so much about the World Baseball Classic? This is a Royals podcast.
Have you looked at the lineups the Royals are putting out there for the spring training? Looked at yesterday. So I write the game threads for Fridays and Saturdays this year, at least to start the year. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that all year. That's a lot, honestly, on top of a day job, but I'm going to try. And I looked at that lineup and I said, I don't think they do not have one starter in this lineup. They don't have one projected starter. They had one guy who was projected to be on the opening day roster, possibly in Nick Lofton. All 9 guys in yesterday's starting lineup could start the year in AAA or with another team. Very, very possibly. And then you substitute guys out halfway through the game. I mean, Ryan Berger was interesting as the starter, but he's also, especially after another kind of not great performance yesterday, probably ticketed for Omaha himself.
Probably so. I'm looking at today's lineup, and Lane Thomas, Starling Marte, Carter Gent. Like this is a heftier lineup. Well, it's
after those first 3.
You got Isbell, you got Lofton down there, but like there's so much talent from the Royals specifically.
Yeah,
who I think are one of 5 teams who could say they have a representative on all of the semifinal teams in the
I'm
World Baseball
surprised it's that
Classic.
many, but I guess that makes
I
sense.
was too. I was too. Like that's just where the bangers are right now. All the
Yeah.
guys that we are hitching our wagon to right now are wearing their country's cloth
I
in the
mean, you're
World
you're
Baseball
talking
Classic.
about the superstar starting shortstop, the star starting third baseman, the star starting catcher, the upcoming star starting right fielder, and the closer, and upcoming star reliever. I mean, the Royals aren't just missing a bunch of guys; they're missing all of their best.
Yes. Yeah. And the team has looked like it. They are in a slide. They are in a rut.
They've
I need
lost
to
almost every game since the World Baseball Classic started.
almost. And they lost 12-1 against the A's
Yeah, they
on
were getting
Saturday.
no hit by
12 to
Jacob
1.
Lopez when I last
Yeah.
checked in on that game, and I was like, I think Jacob Lopez has some skills. He's got some stuff. He's got some talent. Dare I say, he has some juice. But he that's my phrase for this year.
It's got some juice.
He's
Yeah.
got the juice, but no hitting you through 4 innings at this stage of his career. I mean, it's a minor league lineup, so sure, but and it's not
I
even a
guess.
super interesting. I mean, it's Brandon Drury and Miguel Rojas. I mean, a lot of these guys aren't even going to be in the minors. They're just going to be gone.
Yeah. At best, like we're seeing the organizational depth get some chances, which is important from a team building perspective. It's just not entertaining baseball.
This
all
is
the
this is
time.
not a criticism of the Royals at all. This is, if anything, it's like, wow, you guys have so much talent that nobody's left because they're all busy doing something else.
Exactly. They sent out 13 players to pool play. They have about half of that right now still playing in the World Baseball Classic. I had to pull up the number just to make sure I wasn't wildly off base here. They are 2-10 in the 12 Cactus League games since the World Baseball Classic started. That is absolutely ridiculous.
And we had talked. I wanted to real quick mention before I forget. We had talked a couple episodes ago because we had the special bonus episode of an interview with Royals broadcaster Ryan Lefevre that I hope you'll all go listen to. It was a wonderful conversation with him. And before that, we had mentioned why didn't Team USA add Matt Strom like we thought they were going to? And Annie Rogers wrote somewhere, I don't remember where. You can find it on MLB on KCRoyals.com somewhere. But she wrote that he had originally said he signed up to pitch for Team USA, but once he got traded to the Royals, he decided it was more important to stay in camp.
Yeah, that's fair.
With his new team.
I think that's valid.
Yeah, for sure. Like we talked about with the whole Tarek Skubal situation, whatever your individual choice is, I mean, for it's also a contract year for Matt Strom. He's not looking to get paid like Tarek Skubal, but if he pitches really well this year, he could get reliever markets can get pretty high. He's a little older than some of these guys, so maybe he's not getting Edwin Diaz money, but
no, probably not.
He could get some serious change if he pitches well this year. So I don't blame him for wanting to maximize what that looks like.
Agreed. And one more point on that Ryan Lefevre interview, which please go check that out. That was an awesome chat with him, and I greatly appreciate the parties that made that happen. It is pretty disappointing, I will say, that the final spring training game on Royals TV is going to be on Tuesday, on March 17th. Like that's
in the middle of the World Baseball Classic finale.
Yes, precisely in the middle of it.
Yeah, I watched. It was Friday night's game, or I think, or was it Thursday night? I don't remember. Whatever night it was that Eric Hosmer debuted, I watched the Royals broadcast.
It was Friday, yeah.
It was Friday because that was USA and Canada was playing at the same time. And I was going to watch USA and Canada, but USA had gotten out to a big lead. And I'm like, I really want to see how Eric Hosmer does. So we could talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, but before we do, I do want to say that have you seen the numbers about Kansas City and watching the World Baseball Classic, like the ratings? It's been crazy. So according to Fox Sports' viewership numbers, the Kansas City is the top market. It was the top market for the pool play games, which is wild.
Best players are out there.
Right. But widely surpassed Philadelphia and St. Louis, which were second and third.
The thing about Philadelphia is, their stars are out there. but their two biggest batting stars are both on Team USA, so you don't need to watch the whole World Baseball Classic. And Christopher Sanchez, where is he? Was he Dominican Republic?
I think so, but I definitely could be wrong. I've not been paying
I can't
attention
remember where
to him
everybody
too
was
much.
born. I'm sorry, or not. A lot of times they weren't even born there. Their
Right.
grandparents were.
Exactly.
So I do apologize for not knowing where all these guys are, but I know he was on a team and it wasn't Team USA. He may still
Yeah.
be on the team, but again, the Royals were scattered all over the dang place.
Yeah.
So you had,
Yeah,
if you
that they
wanted to
were.
watch the Royals, you don't watch spring training, you watch the entire WBC.
Which, speaking of broadcast, I want to circle back to what you were saying about Hosmer. What'd you think about that debut broadcast from the newest member of the Royals TV broadcast crew?
So in the first inning, I posted a message to the Royals Review Slack saying, oh no. And everyone thought somebody had gotten hurt. And I was just, oh no, I do not like Eric Hosmer as a broadcaster. But as the night went on, I thought he got better. And by the end of the night, I was pretty pleased with him. I felt like he brought a really good and different perspective, like from what we're used to. Uh, and pointed out some stuff that I don't think we usually get pointed out, kind of like Jeremy Guthrie did, at least his first year. I remember being disappointed in Jeremy Guthrie last year, but I could be absolutely off my rocker there. But I really liked, in the end, what Eric Hosmer brought to it. I will say that at one point he paused to shout out
Joe West,
Joe
of all
West,
people.
which you do not. He's like, you got to shout out Joe West, and you don't. You don't ever.
No, you really don't.
No, he does. No. And the only criticism I have for Eric Hosmer at the end of things really is that he made a point of saying he was pausing for the pitches, which is interesting from the perspective of someone who likes to know how the sausage gets made, such as myself. But if you keep doing that, it's going to get on people's nerves. You just gotta not talk over the pitch and then start talking again, as the rest of the broadcasters do. And I'm sure he'll figure that out. I mean, it was literally his first ever game broadcast. So that's I'm not gonna hold that against him, and I'm not gonna expect that to continue indefinitely. I'm sure that's something he'll clean up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's spring training for everyone. I've seen him do better, or I've heard him do better.
It's not just spring training. He's a rookie in spring training. It's his first spring training.
From a very new perspective, but thankfully he has a good group of people around him.
And when you're a new guy in spring training, you never done spring training before, the biggest thing you want to do is show some flashes, just flash some of that talent, and I think he did.
Yeah, I think he did as well.
I was prepared. We discussed this. I was prepared to not really super enjoy Eric Hosmer as a broadcaster, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I thought he did pretty good.
Well, that's good. That's good. Did you see the Savannah Bananas clowning Cal Raleigh?
You know I did, because I sent you the link.
I know.
That reminds me, I was going to point out, who does play for Team Dominican Republic. I remember this one. Julio Rodriguez.
That's right, yeah.
Another Did you hear the Josh Naylor thing?
Yes, I did.
So Josh, go back to the beginning in case you haven't been keeping up with all this. It's our spill the tea time. Cal Raleigh, catcher for Team USA. They're playing Team Mexico. Randy Arozarena's leading off for Team Mexico. Teammates in Seattle with Cal. Walks up to Cal to start the game, tries to shake his hand. Cal Raleigh won't shake his hand. Randy Arozarena calls him out afterwards. And I'm like, this is just some kind of silly gag. Well, then Josh Naylor, who's playing for Team Canada, also a Seattle Mariners teammate with Cal Raleigh, says, he says he texted Cal and said, hey, I'm going to give you a fist bump when I get up to the plate. And Cal Raleigh told him, he said, according to Josh Naylor, Cal Raleigh said, please don't. So now Julio Rodriguez has an opportunity to make it 3 for 3, baby.
Yep.
I'm going to point this out, Jacob, and I don't want anyone to read too much into it, but it is something I noticed.
Okay.
So I feel like it would be disingenuous to not point it out. Team USA is made up entirely of white players. with the exception of Aaron Judge, who is biracial, raised by a white family. And Randy Arozarena is black. Josh Naylor is, I believe, biracial. I don't think there's a race element here, but it is not a good look for Cal Raleigh or Team USA for that matter. I think I want to be very explicit about this point. I do not think that only white players were chosen for Team USA for any nefarious reason. I think what it really comes down to is that there are few to no high-level Black Americans playing baseball because of the way the sport has lived in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just because they integrated with Jackie Robinson doesn't mean that Black players were welcomed into baseball the same way that white players were. And there's all kinds of socioeconomic stuff that goes into this. It's not all on MLB. Just think it's important to see it and acknowledge it as factual.
Okay. As existing at the very least.
Baseball's doing a great job expanding to other countries right now. Obviously, I think Italy is going to get a huge bump. Czechia is going to get a huge bump. Korea and Japan were already big. Baseball's been booming in the Central and South America for a long time. In Mexico, expanding into Canada. But another thing that baseball needs to do if it wants to thrive into the future is it needs to appeal more to non-white athletes. I don't know. I will not sit here and claim to know how you do that. I just know that it must be done.
So here's the thing. This is something that I'm moderately passionate about.
All right. Go off.
No, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole here, but it is both the existence of the sport and like lack of Black superstars from America right now is a marketing issue. I would call it, right?
Could be, for sure.
When you get down to the realistic aspect of it, it's a lot of people know this because you probably experience it with your kids. Baseball is expensive.
Yeah.
It is one of the most expensive sports out there. And there is this culture right now that says you have to invest thousands upon thousands of dollars into each season just to give your kid a shot. And that's not fair. I definitely don't think it's fair. So many schools lack the proper infrastructure for baseball, I would say, especially in urban settings. That's the reality of the situation. And we could talk about the travel stuff and how youth sports overall has just been, for lack of better terms, corrupted to shit right now. Like that's just where it's at. Baseball is one of the biggest examples of that, though. And MLB, they made some rules about collecting data off of amateur players at these showcases and things like that, trying to limit that, but it only goes so far. Right. And, it's something that I don't think baseball or MLB as itself can control. I do think that, there's some legislation out there about this, about like, hey, let's try to regulate this a little bit because this is getting out of hand. I don't know if that'll come to fruition, but yeah, so like some of these kids just don't have access to baseball to learn about baseball, much less get to the level of where they are noticed by an MLB team and at a spot where they can develop into a player. And this is one of the things. If you ever want to deep dive into Royals history, go look at the first baseball academy down there in Florida. It was something truly special, something very, very different for the time, and even now, very, very different. And I think that for its shortfalls, it still did a good job of that. It was turning these kids who were athletes into ball players, and we saw it in those winning years for the Royals. That formula did work. It was expensive, especially for the time, but it did work. So that's something that baseball does need to look at, and I don't know what the fix is. All I know is that there is a problem right now with it.
Well, I know one problem with baseball that I keep going back to I think about Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Kyler Murray was drafted, had gotten a big signing bonus to go to the Oakland Athletics.
Yep.
And then he got drafted into the NFL instead. And he got a few million to play for the Athletics, and he was going to be in the minors for who knows how long. Maybe never make it to the major leagues, maybe never get a big, not just 9, but 10-digit payday. And he goes to the NFL and immediately draft day gets that 10-digit payday. And he switched to the NFL. And MLB has got to find a way to make itself more appealing. First of all, you make a really great point about the cost of playing baseball youth-wise, because you need so much more equipment to play baseball than soccer or football. You can just play football with a football just
Yeah.
in your backyard. If you want to play baseball in your backyard, oh, well, you got to have bases, you got to have a bat, you got to have gloves, and you got to have all this stuff. So baseball should be looking to do more subsidization of youth baseball, first of all. Uh, but they've got to find a way to more level the playing field for guys trying to get into the sport. They've got to figure out how to make this more consistent and work better. I don't know. Again, I don't know how, but in a world where I can get my money up front in the NBA or the NFL, why would I choose MLB?
Right. Right. And it is like, MLB it's known for you have to grind for years
Mhm.
for 99 out of 100 players.
Yeah.
It's a years long journey
And
just to get to that first payday.
right, and even if you make it to the big leagues, you then have to be good enough that when you hit 30, everyone thinks you're still good enough to pay you.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's a tough spot to be in, but frankly, I think any solution would change a lot of things about baseball that we've come to be used to.
But I don't know, it might be important. This is wildly off track of where we were trying to
Yes.
be today, but yeah,
Yeah.
Team USA, they're I thought about this after we had our podcast. I talked about how I didn't want to root for Team USA because it's boring. The other thing is that for Team USA, and this was in the middle of a broadcast, it kind of crystallized for me. He said championship is the expectation.
Yeah.
And it is. Championship is the expectation for this Team USA. So when you win, what's to celebrate? You did what you were supposed to do. And if you lose, that's an existential crisis.
Yep.
Any other team in the tournament wins, hey, we won, go us. And if they lose, we made it this far, that's pretty cool. I think this goes back to why I don't want to root for the Yankees, why Yankees fan base, honestly, some of the Chiefs fan base has gotten a little bit difficult to deal
Yankee-ish.
with, is because if they're not winning, they're angry instead of being happy when they are winning. And man, I feel like that's putting a lot of pressure on Team USA. That's probably not fair. I also think Team USA has been a little bit arrogant. I look at Team Japan. Team Japan has been to the semis every year since this thing started. They've won 3 championships. Team USA's only won 1. They should, by all accounts, have the most expectations on them. Baseball is still Japan's national sport.
Yeah.
It's their national pastime. And beyond that, you know what Team Japan calls themselves? Samurai Japan. So a lot of people have criticized Team USA, including myself, for being kind of over militarized. And yeah, you're a little over militarized. But Team Japan has focused their thoughts on on Japanese warriors.
Yeah. That they have.
So like they have big expectations. They're thinking about the military as they're competing. Yet
Yeah.
they're not being jerks about it.
There's a
They're
difference.
enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Did you see Shohei Ohtani flip his bat when he hit that home run? Yeah, they're still having a good time. But I think Team USA, has these wild expectations which are over the top, but is also a little arrogant. I don't know if you heard this, but Mark DeRosa kind of threw his team under the bus a little bit. He can't be the manager next time. He can't.
No.
He threw after the whole debacle about not knowing that Team USA hadn't clinched, blah blah blah. He kind of said that the team had been celebrating too hard after their win over Mexico, and that they were a little worn out heading into that Team Italy game because they were too busy drinking and partying after that Mexico game. First of all, if that's true, you're the team manager. Tell them to knock it off and go to bed. You still got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
And second of all, what the heck are you guys doing? You tell me you're out here, you're the best, you're going to compete. You dominate because that's what USA does. And then you're not taking this seriously?
Yeah, they definitely aren't taking it seriously. Yeah, sorry to distract you. I saw that visualization. I just wanted to send it to you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really that was something I had meant to mention real quick but hadn't, is that the baseball isn't a purely white sport. Of course, we know this because a lot of these guys playing for Team Dominican Republic, playing for Team Italy, playing for all these other teams are MLB players. But they're coming from other countries to do it a lot of times, from Dominican Republic, from Venezuela. Venezuela's so many baseball players from Dominican Republic and Venezuela, despite being a fraction of the size of the United States of America. And it's not their national pastime.
But I do, holy smokes, like that's a baseball culture on a country. Like you could say football is the culture sport.
You know what
America,
they're doing?
Right?
They're subsidizing, and they make all these academies like you're talking about. They're making it worthwhile for guys in those countries to show up and play some baseball. Looking at this graphic, the first thing I noticed was that the Latino population explodes over time, but you can see the black population gets much bigger in around 1970 and then shrinks around 2000, and it's almost as small in 2016 as it was in 1960 when there was segregation.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Just to think about, like, it's decreased that much.
I mean, to be clear, baseball was integrated, but the country, United States as a whole.
Need parts fast? O'Reilly Auto Parts has fast. Need them now? We've got now. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Was not.
Right.
And there was a higher percentage of black players in the game then.
Yeah, it's something that's a little hard to wrap your brain around. Hey, let's get back over to the Royals real quick.
Sure, I guess.
So one thing that does need to be highlighted, Jonathan India exited a game the other day, but Andy Rogers said that he is all good as of yesterday and cleared for activity. He had right groin tightness, so I don't know. It doesn't sound very serious. Doesn't sound like it's going to hamper him for opening day at all. But it's something just to keep an eye on, I guess, if it's nagging. And then you said there was an Isaac Collins injury update?
Yeah, he's got a little back something. I think it was another Andy Rogers report I saw. Basically, he didn't want to play through it because it's spring. He wants to be fully ready for the season. I question sometimes, like, you say that because it's spring, but should you play through it in the regular season? And how long is it going to linger even if you rest it? I'm concerned about Jonathan India and Isaac Collins until I see them on the field and performing.
Yeah, because neither one
Michael
have really
Massey had was it a calf injury? What did he have? That's got him out?
Yeah, he had a calf injury.
So
they shut him down for like a week.
That's all the second basemen.
Yeah, that it is. Tyler Tolbert, your opening day starter,
or Nick Lofton.
Adam
Frazier, did you get that major league deal from the Angels? Adam, answer my calls, Adam.
Got 27 missed calls from JJ Piccolo right there. It is this, like, it really feels like Nick Lofton's job to lose right now, like that utility bench spot right now.
I know
he's been doing good.
He has been having a really good spring, and I had been debating a little bit with Lesky, Lofton versus Tolbert for that final roster spot, and I said Tolbert, and he said Lofton because Lofton can play third. I said, well, I think Tolbert can play third. Tolbert's playing third today, and he had a throwing error. So maybe Tolbert can't play third.
Not ideal, to say the least.
If the Royals have bats on the bench, maybe they don't need shoes, cleats, legs, whatever we're calling them. They don't need to run. They don't need a pinch runner.
Wheels.
If they've got bats, they don't need wheels. Everyone knows a bat beats a wheel.
They don't need legs. They don't need legs. Sorry,
I'm just trying to say they don't need to be fast. I don't know, man. Metaphors are hard.
Oh, I'm imagining it's like a legless Lane Thomas hobbling.
No, that's not what I meant. Clearly, everyone on the bench also has a bat. They just don't use it well necessarily.
Clearly, are we worried about Starling Marte at all?
No, he's in the first week of spring training still.
He is.
I'm not concerned about Starling Marte at this point. I mean, other than he's old and he wasn't.
He is.
He was still a good hitter last year, but he's another year older.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that concern. But I'm not concerned about the spring training numbers I'm seeing. I haven't looked at the stuff I like to check, like the chases and whips. But the sample sizes, even for that stuff, is still going to be so small.
Yeah, and he's still knocking the rust off. Like he's done this for well over a decade at the major league level, but even he's going to be rusty. All right, there's a reason why we got spring training. Yeah. Kyle Isbell having a multi-hit game today. Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas is a guy who I was worried about for like the better part of a week and a half, I would say. I'm kind of like, okay, I think he's gonna be all right. Like I don't.
Yeah, he's started to hit the ball a little bit harder. His strikeout rate is plummeting all the way from 50% to 42.9% even before today's action. I'm starting to worry less about him too. I'm more worried about health than anything. Starling Marte, he's struck out in 50% of his plate appearances, but he's only had 6. No, I'm sorry, he struck out 1 time, and he's also walked 1 time in 6 plate appearances. So that's fine. He's chasing 33.3% of the time, which is not great, but it's also not awful. It's also an incredibly tiny sample size.
Incredibly tiny.
And then the 90th percentile exit velocity is 86.6, which is awful, but that's 4 batted ball events.
Yeah, that it is.
So you can't take anything from Starling Marte's numbers yet. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did have a few players get reassigned to minor league camp. 80 grade name player here, Kenyon Brown.
Gosh, I
Omar
hope he
Hernandez
someday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. He had a couple of good knocks in spring training. Hunter Pattinson also got reassigned, and there was one other player, Dennis Colleran Jr., who was that was a little surprising that he got reassigned so early. But I think that's just the team saying, "Hey, you're not like you're on the right track, but you're not like close now."
I think the reason Dennis Colleran got assigned now is because he's not making the opening day roster. But he needs to pitch plenty because they're going to want him later this year. And we're in the final week of spring training. Spring training, the final game is Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
So the starters got to finish building up. So there's just not innings for everybody anymore. And you got to give them to the guys who are still battling for those final bullpen spots. So that was not a Dennis Colleran Jr., you suck, get out of here. That was a Dennis, you're doing great. We can't put you on the opening day roster. So we need you to go get your innings where you can get them.
Exactly. Yeah, folks. So we're recording this on Sunday, the 15th. The final spring training Cactus League game, I will say, is on the 21st. Now, they do have those 2 exhibition games down in Arlington against the Texas Rangers. So that'll be a good one to watch. That should be like Royals at full force.
Yep. That you should see the real Royals for those 2 exhibition games.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're less than 2 weeks away. We're almost into single digits.
From probably Chris Sale versus Cole Reagans, which sounds like a tasty pitching matchup.
It does. It absolutely does. Cole Reagans.
How did Cole do today? What was his line today? I was only kind of half listening.
3 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He tossed.
High, but
Yeah, he 63 pitches, 41 for strikes. So he's yeah, that's not
How
bad
many
at all.
innings did you say?
3 2/3. So
How many pitches?
he was strikeout 63. So he was
That's not bad for
strikeout
for
hunting
that
a
many
little bit.
innings.
It's not terrible.
It's not great. I look for if you're sub 15 pitches per inning, you're doing very well in my
Okay.
mind. And that's a little over 15 an inning.
It is. It is. So okay, well, good to go. Good to
It's
know.
not 2025, which is when I start to really get concerned.
Yeah, that's where the batters start exploiting your mistakes.
And he was, Tyler Tolbert threw a ball away. I think there was another kind of misplay on the field. So he was not necessarily getting help from his defense in keeping that pitch count down either, or those runs off the board. I know Tyler Tolbert's overthrow was credited as a single, so
Yeah,
should that
there
be
was
an
no
earned
errors.
run?
It's probably not. Hey, we're getting up there in time, so we're kind of gonna skip Royals reviews today because we just got one big old review today
All right.
from Jeremy here.
Can I just this is something I've wanted to mention. I'm going to give you two reviews.
Yes.
I'll give you a mini review and then I'll give you the big review.
Okay, the big
So
one.
the mini review is the practice of mise en place.
Okay.
If you're not aware of mise en place, it's French for everything in place. And it basically means before you start cooking a meal, get all of your ingredients out, preferably measure them out so that you just have to grab them and add them and do whatever you need to do with them as you go. I have always thought, man, that's a waste of time. Why would I do that? But I've started doing a little bit more cooking lately, battling. I found this hot stove theory for, I just give you all kinds of stuff here for ADHD. When a lot of ADHD people or neurospicy people suffer from executive dysfunction. Sometimes you want to do something and you just can't make your brain do it. So the hot stove theory is your brain thinks it's protecting you by not letting you do that thing. It's a hot stove, don't touch it. So the best way to get over the hot stove, unfortunately, is to just keep touching it. Do not literally keep touching a hot stove, but figuratively touch the fake hot stove so your brain goes, oh, it's not that bad. So I've been trying to cook more because that's one of those things that I'm like, my brain doesn't want me to do because it's like, that's effort and time that you don't want to spend. You would rather do something else. So I'm trying to do that more. And I started doing some mise en place while I was cooking, and it makes it go so much easier. There's so much less confusion. There's so much less mess because I know where everything is, and I'm able to focus better. When you're cooking something, I'm telling you, mise en place. It sounds like it's going to be a waste of time to get everything out and then start instead of starting and then grabbing everything as you need it, but it's not.
All right. Interesting.
That's my mini review / life advice. Now the big review. We're going to talk about MLB The Show 26, baby! Early access started Friday. It has not been a smooth ride for MLB The Show, I will say. They had server issues that night. I tried to stay up late to play it, couldn't do it. And then they put in a patch this morning that I was very excited about because one of my biggest complaints, the reason I do not play Madden anymore is because their menus are so slow.
Yeah.
And MLB The Show revamped all of their menus to be much prettier this year, but they made them slow. But then one of the fixes they were putting in the patch was to fix the menus so they'd go faster. They were fixing a lot of other small quality of life things, and this is pre-release, so this is the time to do that, right? I think that makes sense. And other people will say we paid extra for this, so we shouldn't have to. And to that I say it's software. Deal with it. You're dealing with living software. That is the modern reality. You're gonna have to be the beta tester sometimes. I mean, we could say that the studio should pay for more testing and handle it in-house. It's not going to happen. But yeah, they put out a patch this morning. Unfortunately, the patch broke Diamond Dynasty. You could not view your program progress. It sucked. But it's a Sunday, Jacob, and they fixed it same day. That's how serious they were. And everyone was complaining, how have you not fixed this yet? I'm like, it's Sunday. The fact that they did fix it is... These guys are going above and beyond. People are working on what should be their day off. Yep. And I just want to shout out Sony San Diego Studio. I see what you're doing. I appreciate you. I appreciate you developers for sticking it out and fixing that stuff. I really do appreciate it because, man, I have done nothing but play MLB The Show since it came out. So I told Jacob I would play a Road to the Show this morning for him because that's the mode he's most interested in.
Please, please, please.
I will tell you, Jacob, I didn't get very far. I ended
Okay,
up
that's fine.
starting 3 characters.
Gee.
Because, well, okay, so what happened was I started a female closer, and I lost in the high school quarterfinals. And they've added these goals, Jacob, that are super cool. I love goals. I love goals in video game. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
give me a thing to work for. Give me a thing that I can go, yes, check that off my list in my video game. I love it. I love it. But the goals aren't just there to check off your list. They also give you tangible in-game rewards of extra tokens to spend on your stats, or in the case of being a prospect, they increase your future caps or something like I don't remember the exact phrasing they used, but your potential. It increases your potential. So you want
Yeah.
to complete all these things. And there was a goal for win the high school championship. So I started one and I lost in the high school quarterfinals. And I was like, well, that sucks. So then I try, you can't, they don't let you go back at all. So I was like, well, I'll just start a new one. So I started a male second baseman because that's the position I play.
Okay.
And so call me Royals if Jonathan India and Michael Massey can't go. I'm available. And I started going and I lost. And what I did this time, I was like, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to save after every game, at least while I'm in this area where I get all these unrepeatable bonuses of high school championship, college selection, whatever, and make sure that I get the results I want. And I would save it, and then I would go to load and it would tell me there was nothing there. So I did a third save, and I found that if I upload it to the cloud, you can upload one save to the cloud at a time. You can then download it from the cloud, and that's how you can go back if you have a bad game and you're like, well, I'm not having a bad game in high school. I mean, if you want to do it all throughout your career, that's up to you. For me, I'm not having a bad game in high school or college. When I get to MLB, bad games happen, fine, or minor leagues. Bad games happen, that's fine. But I want all the bonuses I can get from high school and college to help me on my way to the Hall of Fame. So, but yeah, the goal edition was really cool. The women's mode, so there's 2 versions of the women's story now, which I find very interesting. There's one where you're the first woman to ever make it to professional baseball still, which is the one they've had. But they've also got one where you can the Mia Lewis, who was your best friend, who was also trying to make it to the big leagues in previous iterations of the game, has already been to the big leagues and already retired. And now she's mentoring you as you try to become the first woman ever into the Hall of Fame. And you can reference your previous player and her name and her position as like, oh, she was also a spearhead for this. And it's really cool. The storyline stuff is fleshed out just a little bit this year, though the men's storyline could use some improvements, I think. Because like there's this, you can have a sit down with Mia Lewis at this restaurant and she tells you all about, I loved being a baseball player and I think you've got a lot of skill, and we could talk about, like, oh, this is what it was like when I was a female baseball player. And it's all fiction, but it's fun to have that backstory. Whereas the male baseball player is just like, well, you should pick a college just in case you don't get drafted or you don't like where you get drafted. And Mia Lewis says that stuff too, but it's like, okay, but where's the flair? Where's the character to this?
Where's the pizzazz?
Yeah. So I would recommend playing as a woman if you can stand it. I don't know. I think the story is going to be more interesting that way. But yeah, road to the show. I like I said, I haven't got very far. I haven't even made it into college yet, actually, because I kept having to start over. But it was I felt like it was a really solid experience, and it was really explaining what was going on in a really interesting way. I will also recommend do choose a favorite college, because then you have a goal to get recruited by that college. You don't have to go there, but as long as you get recruited by them, it'll increase your potential. And obviously, I think you're going to want the most potential you can get on your path to the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
The only mode I haven't really played is, unfortunately, storylines. I'm going to try and get into that tomorrow. Diamond Dynasty is a ton of fun. They have so much World Baseball Classic stuff I can't even keep up.
Yeah.
And they've got the mini seasons, and they've changed the mini seasons this year, so you can set them to just 7 games instead of the previous 28 games for the regular season, which makes them go by much faster. And they've got repeatable quests in there that are more rewarding than last year. So mini seasons is much more worth doing multiple times than it was last year. The diamond quests are there. I haven't gotten into those yet. They only have one Conquest map right now, but it rewards some really cool WBC players, including Tarek Skubal. They've got a WBC Showdown, which gives you a bunch of WBC players. Showdowns are the ones where you draft a lineup and then you
that's right.
have to score so many runs within so many outs.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of my favorite modes. They have so many different moments. They have so much team affinity stuff to do. I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of content. And they changed up the way events work this year, so the events won't always be happening. So when you get on there, if you see an event you want to do, you should do it because it won't be there forever. And when that one finishes, there won't necessarily be another one. And there were at least sometimes will be programs associated with the events. So there's a WBC program tied to the WBC event, which is a moonshot event, which means common pitchers and whatever batters you want, lots of home runs, and you can get a Bryce Terang doing that. And of course, you earn points towards the multiplayer program as well. There's just a lot of good stuff going on in here, and I am having an absolute blast playing this game, Jacob.
Good. Excellent. Yeah, I can't wait to play. I did not pay extra for the early access. It officially dropped on the 12th.
To be a beta tester, Jacob?
No, I'm good. I'm just fine. I'm waiting for the 17th, just like all us normies.
It's just Tuesday. You're almost there.
Yep, almost there. Ready to pick it up and hop right into it. So thank you for the rundown and for the review there, and that is going to take us to the end of today's Royals rundown. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. Of course, a reminder, go check out royalsreview.com if you're looking for the latest and greatest on the Kansas City Royals. Also, go check out that Brian Sweeney interview. Go check out that Ryan Lefevre interview. Please. Like, these are some of our favorite projects to do in the offseason.
Do we have those? And if you guys don't listen to it, they won't talk to us anymore. We got an exclusive of the Royals backdrop. Did you post that video on social media yet? I haven't seen it.
I posted the photo. Okay. I did, so I'll send you that link. But okay. I did put it on Blue Sky. I just put it on our Twitter.
They're not going to give it to us forever if y'all don't listen to it. They're gonna say, you guys don't get listeners. We're gonna go give this to somebody else. So please listen. And
yes,
yeah. I talking to Brian Sweeney and Ryan Lefevre was just, both of those were just such. I felt so privileged to have a conversation with those guys about baseball and about what they do in baseball and their relationship to baseball. They were just really nice to talk to.
Yeah.
And I think really nice to listen to, hopefully.
Hopefully so.
This is not an opportunity I think you get every day to just listen. Unfortunately, you all can't be having the conversation with us with them, but even so, there's not an opportunity you get to listen to such a conversation all the time. I mean, they'll give interviews and stuff, but it's not the same thing. And so this is something I'm really passionate about, is those kinds of conversations. And I hope you all enjoy it. Shout out to Jacob. Jacob's always giving me shout outs when I manage to get us an interview. So shout out to Jacob for getting us those interviews, because I know he's working hard on making that happen.
Trying to.
Not a shout out to Joe West, just to Jacob Milham.
I appreciate a clarification there. We aren't. I'm sure we're like 7 steps removed from one another now. I'm sure. Me and Joe West, that is. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. The work week is ahead, and we hope that we've started it off for you on a good note. So if you ever have thoughts about the podcast, ever something you want us to talk about, hit us up on social media. On Spotify, you can comment on the podcast episode. That's we're always checking those, keeping an eye out. Or you can just find us on royalsreview.com and chat with us there. I am Jacob Milham. They are Jeremy Greco. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, go Royals.
Waiting all day for Sunday night. That was bad.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.